From this point, I could see the bridge was made of a series of rickety-looking planks, with half the planks missing. My legs were long enough to step across the missing planks, but Angeline would need to stretch. It would be best to get across quickly before Angeline became too fixated on the challenge. I was about to clamber across when I heard Misha calling me from the ground. "Before you start," she shouted, "I want you to take out the envelope and open it." I pulled it out of my pocket and found a blindfold inside. "There's only one," I shouted back. "Put it on." "Do we have to do this blindfolded?" I glanced at the planks swaying gently, each plank independent of the others. My throat tightened. "There's just one blindfold," I shouted louder this time. Misha nodded at me, her neck strained upward and her hands on her hips. The ropes course specialist standing next to her pretended to put a blindfold over his eyes and then pointed at me. "Let Angeline lead you," he shouted. So, I was supposed to be blindfolded, and Angeline was not. That made no sense. It would be better for Angeline to be blindfolded, so she wouldn't have to look down. I could guide her across easily. I was about to argue with Misha when I noticed other participants staring up at me. The purpose of this exercise was clearly for me to be blindfolded, making the whole thing more challenging. So, I put the blindfold on. There was some light creeping in the bottom. If I lifted my head, I could see a little bit of the course. To avoid cheating, although nobody would notice, I adjusted the blindfold to be as dark as possible. "You need to step around me," I said to Angeline, "so you can go first and lead me. Talk to me with every step. Tell me what's coming up next, how wide I need to step over the missing planks, and make sure you're safe first before you turn and tell me what to do. I'll hold on to the back of your harness so I can feel your movements." I held her harness, waiting for her to step onto the first plank, but she didn't move. She was shaking. "Let's go," I said. She was silent, paralyzed. "Let's go. Come on." She still didn't move. I decided to take charge. Still blindfolded, I worked my way around her, back to the front again. "What are you doing?" "Follow me," I said. "Hold my shoulders." Her hands were heavy on my shoulders and trembling. Angeline was shorter than me, so she was pulling me down. "Now, grab the back of my harness. Yes, like that. Hold tight. Do everything I say." I was intensely focused on getting across each step without falling. I had to get us both across flawlessly. No trips, no falls, and no awkward struggle to pull ourselves back up. That was my goal. I was fixated on it so hard, I barely heard anything Angeline said or the voice of the facilitator. And I did manage to get us both across. No falls, no slips. It was flawless. I felt like a hero, powerful, capable, tenacious, all the good sides of stubbornness. I took my blindfold off and looked at Angeline, who smiled back at me with relief. Then I heard Misha shouting my name from the ground. I looked down to see her waving her arms wildly and kicking sand in the air. When I got down, Misha was waiting at the base of the ladder. "What the hell was that?" I got us across. "You don't get it." Stop. You don't get it. What was she talking about? I got the job done. Just stop and listen. I had never seen Misha furious like this. This was supposed to be an exercise for you, especially you, to practice giving up control and trusting your partner. Her voice was quiet now. She pulled me away. where others couldn't hear her easily. "What do you think you did to Angeline?" I wanted to say that I had gotten her across, but I knew that wasn't the answer she wanted. I shrugged. "You sucked the courage right out of Angeline, and you used it as fuel to drive your need to be a hero." Ouch. Did I do that? You prevented her. Now listen deeply. You prevented her from growing and discovering her own courage. She stared at me with wide open eyes and pursed lips, pausing to let her words sink in. You wasted the opportunity to trust someone else and learn what it feels like to let go of control. The tightness in my chest and the heaviness in my body told me she was touching on something profound. I feel so sad for both of you. Such a valuable opportunity wasted. Maybe you can see this as a wake-up call to behave very differently in the future. Misha stepped away, leaving me alone to stew in my thoughts. She was right. I felt dizzy, so I sat at a park bench and vaguely watched others going across the bridge in pairs. Several minutes later, I don't know how long, Angeline sat next to me. She put a bottle of cold water on the picnic table in front of me. "Did you see how many people are falling off the bridge?" She had a big smile. "Dangling in the air like puppets. We just ran across. We aced it." I don't think Misha sees it that way. "What do you mean?" "Never mind. You're right. We aced it."